Hi there, boys and girls. Welcome back to At Home with APS. I'm Miss Lori, and today we are going to be spending our last day talking about innovation and technology with our second and third grade friends. And I want to start today with finishing up our writing section that we've been working on all week. Remember what kind of writing we've been doing? Can anybody remember the name? That's right. It's called a cinquain poem. So we're going to finish that up, and then we're going to have some fun Friday games with Miss Kathy and Miss Anna and Mrs. Croft and myself. And I can't wait to that because I love to play games, and I'm sure you do too. Okay, so let's do a quick review of the things that we learned on Monday and Wednesday about cinquain poetry, and then we're going to get you ready to write your own today. All right, everybody ready? Here we go. So, what to remember about cinquain poetry. We talked about this on Wednesday, so I'm going to kind of go through this briefly so that we can get down to what we need to do to write our own poem. So remember that cinquain poems can be written about anything at all. Today I'm going to give you a challenge to try to write one using an idea that we've learned about the last 2 weeks or one of our vocabulary words from the last 2 weeks. And we will review those in just a minute. They all have 5 lines. The syllable count pattern, anybody remember how the syllable count pattern goes? Think about it for a second. It goes like this. The first line has 2 syllables. The next line has 4. Third line has 6. Oops, is that right? 2, yeah. Third line has 6. Fourth line has 8. And the last line, we're back to 2 syllables. You're going to want to brainstorm first. And we talked about brainstorming on Wednesday. Then you're going to want to count out your syllables. And we practiced counting out syllables on Wednesday too. And we'll do it one more time to refresh ourselves on how we count out syllables. And then you're going to want to write your poem in the center of a piece of paper. So hopefully, while we're reviewing this, you have a piece of paper in front of you or your writing journal in front of you that you can do this on. And then another important thing to remember is that cinquain poetry does not have to rhyme, but it can if you want it to rhyme. It's fun to play around with. Maybe you'll want to write 2 kinds of poems. Write one that rhymes and one that doesn't. That's a challenge for you. But most importantly, I want you to have fun while you're doing this, because if it's not fun, it's something that you won't want to do. So make it fun so that you enjoy doing it. All right. So this was the poem that I went over with you the last couple days. Hopefully you remember that I love ice cream, and that's why I wrote this one. We went through it, and we checked that ice cream has 2 syllables, and that cold and yummy had 4 syllables. I love its sweet richness had 6 syllables. As it finds its way into my has 8 syllables, and then tummy had 2 syllables. So this met the requirements of being 5 lines long and having the pattern of 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 syllables. Then we wrote one together on Wednesday. About my messy room, because I always had a messy room growing up, and today still a little bit messy of a room. And we counted out the syllables in this to make sure that we had enough. My room, 2 syllables, is such a mess, 4 syllables. Toys all over the place, 6 syllables. My mom says, clean up, but I like it. 8 syllables, like this, 2. Now what I want you to think about is this cinquain actually tells a story. And some of the best cinquains do tell stories, and that's the kind of cinquain that I want you to try and write today. So I'm going to take down my sentence strips here, and we're going to talk about what exactly it needs to have so that you can write your cinquain that tells a story. And you can choose a story that has to do about innovation and technology, like what we've talked about over the last 2 weeks, or you can choose something different like I did, something about something that is personal to you, like my love of ice cream, or the fact that I have a messy room, which was on my mind, obviously, when I wrote this up. So what you are going to be challenged to do is you're going to write your cinquain, and you're going to try to tell a story. Oh, I need my tape circles to put this up. So the first thing you need to think about when you're brainstorming your cinquain is your subject. That's going to go on your line. Whoops. Ooh, didn't stick it on the right one. Hold on. All right. Okay, so you need your subject, so you're going to pick your subject. And another word for subject is topic. So what is the topic of your poem going to be? Then you need to describe it. So you're going to write a description that's 4 syllables long. Then you need an action. So after you describe your topic or your subject, you're going to think about an action. Then, how do you feel about that action? So you need a feeling. And then finally, you're going to have your conclusion. And your conclusion is your final thought. Okay, so to write your cinquain and tell a story, you're going to come up with your subject or topic, and it could be around innovation or technology, or it could be around something else like playing outside or what you're doing on your time when we're not in school. You're describing your description of that, the action, the feeling, and then your conclusion. So that is your task. That's what I'm challenging you with, is to do these. And I hope that when you do them, that you will then share them with your classmates when you get to see them again. All right, so let's think about some of our vocabulary words that might be a word that you would want to use in your cinquain. So this week, one of our vocabulary words was the word. Anybody remember this word? It's a bit unusual, and unusual is a synonym for this word. It's the word unique. I'm wondering if it's upside down, but it wasn't. Okay, another one of our vocabulary words from the past 2 weeks that Miss Anna shared with us was the word invention. So that could be a whole poem around the word invention. That could be your subject right there. Or maybe accidental. Accidental, that was one of our words recently too, because sometimes the best inventions happen because they are an accident. So accidental. We also, last week, learned the word mechanical. So mechanical could be one of the words that you use in your poem. I wonder where I would put that. Maybe as a description. That might be a nice descriptor word. And then the other one, and this is probably my favorite word that we learned about over the last 2 weeks, is the word persistence. Persistence, that could be your subject, your description, or your action. So I hope that you try to use one of these words in your cinquain poem this week. All right, so that is your task for me, or your challenge, is to write some great poetry. I hope that you can share it with your family and your friends and your classmates when you get back together. We are going to move on now to our Fun Friday, and in just a second, you're going to learn all about what we're going to do that is fun.
Welcome, friends. I'm here with my friend, Mrs. K, and we're going to play a game today. This is Fun Friday because we are at the end of our unit on inventions. You've worked so hard thinking about inventions, ideas for inventions, and then our new question was, what value do those inventions bring to your life? So we are going to take all those vocabulary words that we learned from Miss Kay and from Miss Kathy, Miss Lori, and myself, and we put them on a checkerboard. So Mrs. Kay and I are going to play together, but please note that we are going to maintain our social distance. So we are going to keep our 6 feet apart as we play this game with you. So this game is checkers. I'm sure that you've all played checkers. This is a special checkers, vocabulary checkers. So Miss Kay is going to be black and Mrs. Kraft is going to be red. And what makes this game special is that we've put all of our vocabulary words on the game board. And in order for us to move, Mrs. Kay and myself have to use that vocabulary word in a sentence before we can move our checker piece. If we want to jump, remember how you jump another player? If you want to go 2 squares, you have to use both of the words in the same sentence. All right, are you ready to play with us? We're going to be asking for your help as you watch. So keep your ears listening to these words and keep those definitions in your minds. All right, let's get started. I'm going to let Mrs. Kay go first.
Oh, that is so nice of you. Thank you, Miss Kraft. That was very nice. Okay, so I know that when I'm playing checkers, I can move my pieces diagonally. So it's not straight up and down or backwards, but at this diagonal. So, where do I want to go first? I'm going to move this one here. I don't know if you can see this. I know my word is persistence. Oh, so before my turn is over, I have to use the word persistence in a sentence. Can you think of a good sentence with persistence in it? Oh, I know. Mrs. Kraft used a lot of persistence to make this vocabulary checkers poster. I know she worked really hard on it.
Your turn. Thank you, Mrs. Kay. All right. I am going to move my red piece to this square, and my word is going to be examines. Can you help me with the sentence for examines? Say it into your TV set. My word, examines. My doctor examines my elbow when it hurts.
That's a good one. Very good. Okay, now I'm going to move diagonally again. I'm not great at checkers, but I think I want to get pretty close to Miss Kraft's checkers so I can try to jump hers. That's my plan. So I'm going to keep moving this guy. I'm going to move him here, diagonal again. This word is gadget. Ooh, gadget. That was one of those fun words that Miss Kathy used when we read about Rosie Revere Engineer. Gadget. Oh, I know. I used a gadget in my kitchen to help me open a can of tomatoes.
Nice job, Mrs. Kay. And I listened to her strategy, and I'm going to use the same strategy. So I'm going to continue moving my red piece to this square. Is that a good idea, do you think? I'm going to move there because I really like this word. The word is magnificent.
Oh, that is a good word.
Ooh, magnificent. I remember Mrs. Kathy sounding that out for us. So I think that the dress in Sleeping Beauty is magnificent.
I agree. I think that dress is magnificent as well. That was a magnificent sentence.
Thank you, Mrs. Kay.
Okay, it's my turn. Now, if you've played checkers before, you know that you can earn points by jumping over your partner's checkers. Do you see a place where I could jump over her checker? Awesome. Awesome. So I jumped from gadget, I jumped over magnificent, and onto examines. That means I have to use the word magnificent and examines in one sentence. Ooh, that's tricky.
Miss Kay's got a hard one.
Let's see. Oh, I have an idea. In the last episode, we had a special guest that brought a lot of animals. I'm going to use that. So maybe we know Miss Jacobson examined the magnificent reptiles.
Oh, Mrs. K, you have a great sentence. Nicely done.
Your turn. Oh, I think you might be able to jump me too.
So it looks like I might be able to jump Mrs. K. Do you see this? I think my red one is going to jump over Mrs. K and down to magnificent, which means I have to make a sentence with those two words also.
Ooh.
Wow. So my sentence is going to be, my son examines the magnificent hole in the ground.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Very good. Now, do you see that both Miss Craft and I have moved off the checkers that we jumped? We're going to use those to keep score. And at the end, the person that wins will have the most checkers. We probably won't get through the whole game together, but we'll give you enough so that you know how to play it on your own. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to a different spot on my board. I'm moving up to the word ridiculous.
Ooh, ridiculous.
Oh, that's a fun one. I like to watch ridiculous movies because they make me laugh.
Oh, Mrs. K, you're so funny. Okay, my turn. So I'm going to move to one of our favorite words from these last 2 weeks. I get to move to the space inventor. Remember, you became inventors, so I bet you could help me with this one. But my sentence is going to be, Earl and Josephine were the inventors of the Band-Aid. Do you remember that book I read? A really awesome book about the creation of the Band-Aid.
I like that Miss Craft used what we learned last week to help her make her sentence. Man, okay, my turn. Ooh, this is a good one. This word is engineer. I'm also going to use something that we learned last week. We read that wonderful book about Rosie Revere, engineer. Let's see. My sentence is going to be, Rosie Revere was an excellent engineer because she didn't give up and she kept trying really hard to invent new things.
Whew. Very nicely
Awesome.
done, Mrs. K. All right. I don't see a place where I can jump. So I'm going to move to this space, which is gizmo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love this word because one of my favorite movies is The Little Mermaid. So my sentence, Mrs. K, is going to be, The Little Mermaid had gadgets and gizmos galore.
Oh,
That's some alliteration. That means I started a lot of words with G.
super. Miss Craft, I think it might be time for us to stop, but I want to thank you for playing with me.
Of course.
And because
I'm happy to.
we're social distancing, we can't give each other a high five.
Air fives.
Air fives.
Boom.
Next, we're going to take a minute to show you how you can make your own vocabularies checkers board so you can play this at home. 2. Hello and welcome back. So you just saw Miss Craft teach me a really fun game called vocabulary checkers. Now, if you're at home, you might have your own checkers board. You can use that to play vocabulary checkers. If I were using my own board, I would cut out some vocabulary words and tape them to the checkerboard I have at home. Or perhaps if you have an adult at home that can help you print out a checkers board, we're going to have one on the At Home with APS.edu website for you to download and print. But if you don't have access to a printer, I'm going to show you how you can make your own checkerboard. It's actually pretty easy. All you need is a piece of paper or maybe a piece of cardboard, something you can write on, and something to write with. I have a marker because that's going to show up best so that you can see it, but you could also do it with a pencil or a crayon or a colored pencil. I'm also going to be using a ruler. If you have a ruler at home, you can use a ruler. If not, I'm going to show you something else you can use. Are you ready? Okay. Now, when I look at our checkerboard, I see that it has 8 boxes across and 8 boxes up and down. We say it's 8 squares by 8 squares. So I want to make a checkerboard that looks like that. I can use my ruler to measure 8 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if I don't have a ruler at home, I can use something else that's about 1 inch long. Did you know your knuckle in between the big bend in your finger and this next bend is about 1 inch? If you don't have a ruler at home, here, look, watch, let's look. Mine's almost exactly 1 inch. You can use this part of your body to measure 8 inches down your paper. I'm going to use a ruler because that's what I have. A ruler also helps me to draw a straight line. But if I don't have a ruler, I could use something else like the edge of a book or the edge of a magazine or maybe another piece of paper that's straight. So I'm going to draw a line that's 8 inches down, and then I'm going to turn my paper and do the same thing, 8 inches this way. This is how I started. Now when I'm all done, my box will look like this. Ta-da! The next part is the fun part, I think, where I'm going to measure 8 inches with my ruler, or, oh, here, I'll show you, I can do it with my finger. 8-inch marks down my box. Like these little lines. And then I take these lines and I stretch them all the way across this way and all the way across this way. When I'm all done, I have a checkerboard like this. And I colored mine in. I colored mine red. I like the color red. You can see that the one we used up there, Miss Kraft colored them blue. Now my next step is going to be to write my vocabulary words in the white spaces so that I can play vocabulary checkers on my own. You can use words that we have been working on these last couple weeks, or maybe you can find a favorite book and look for some difficult or new words to put into your vocabulary checkers. Or maybe you could ask an adult or an older brother or sister to help you come up with some new and challenging words. Remember, the purpose of this game is to have fun, but also to help us practice using these new words in sentences. Now, I made these checker pieces for our game up here. You can just cut paper, different colored paper, to make your checker pieces. You could also use something you have in your house. I found these macaroni noodles in my house. I could use those as pieces if I wanted to. I also have some dried beans. But if I wasn't able to use the food in my house, or if an adult told me, we're not going to use food for a game, I could also use rocks or coins or buttons. You can make this game out of a lot of the things that you have in your home. And you know what? You can even change this game a little bit. instead of playing vocabulary checkers, what if you used multiplication facts or letter sounds? I'm excited to hear about all of the ways that you make this game your own. Happy playing!
Hello, students, and welcome back to Fun Friday. My name is Miss Kathy.
And I'm Miss Lori.
And we are here to play a game with you today. We're going to teach you how to play a game, and then we're going to teach you how to build the game so you can play it all weekend long. And it's a pretty fabulous game. I think you're going to love it.
I'm really excited because I've never played this game before. So Miss Kathy's going to teach me how to play it while she's teaching you how to play it.
Oh, this is going to be great.
It is going to be great. I am excited.
So the name of this game, Miss Lori, is called Spin a Sound.
A sound?
A sound. So
okay.
Right. So up here I have a giant spinner that we're going to be using to demonstrate what we have over here on the table, which is a small version of it. And essentially I created a spinner out of just things I had around so that we can play this game today. But you'll recognize all those objects. Do all of those objects look like something you could find at home?
They do. They
Okay.
do. I'm really focused in on the sounds, though.
Oh.
And I'm thinking I need to do a little pre-game practice. So I got online because I have to be honest. My shun, my T-I-O-N words, I was drawing a blank. So I had to pull some up on my phone.
I think that's cheating.
I don't think it's cheating because I've learned a lot of new words. I learned the word on here, ambition.
Ambition. That's a good word.
I learned ambition because I have a great ambition to win this game.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
So I don't think it's cheating to kind of pre-play ahead of time. But when we start, I'm going to turn my phone off.
Okay.
So that, but now I have some words in my brain that I'm ready to go. All right. I am so ready.
Well, I just want to know, to our kids at home, do you think that's cheating? If Miss Lori, before we play the game, goes and studies?
No.
Have more words in her brain?
Preparation.
Or she
Preparation.
She might be a good learner. I don't know.
I think I'm a good learner.
Thumbs up. Yeah, we'll
Two
give her a
thumbs
thumbs up. That's okay.
2 thumbs up.
So Miss
Prepared.
Lori went and studied for the words that end in the suffix T-I-O-N, which is shun. But we also are going to be spinning to maybe we get the sound sh, S-H, or P-H, W-H.
Now, I have a question. Does
Okay.
the SH have to be at the beginning of a word, or can it be at the end of the word, like splash?
That's a fantastic question, Miss Lori. So the only words that have requirements for where they go in the word are the word part R-E, and there's a line afterwards showing that has to be.
That's what that means.
It is. So that means it has to be a
Okay.
prefix. It has to come at the beginning of the word.
Oh, okay.
And T-I-O-N has a small line right here, meaning it's a suffix, and it has to be at the end of the word. Like the word invention, which was one of our words from
it was.
last week.
Yes.
But we also have the sounds, or the digraph W-H, what? C-H, ch, T-H, be careful. So what we're going to do, Miss Lori, is we're going to spin over here on our smaller version.
But you didn't tell me what the star means.
Oh,
Does that mean
you're
I get to
right.
be a star?
You are a star.
a
Star
star?
means we're all winners. No. If you land on the star, Miss Lori, you get to choose any word part that you'd like us to focus on. It can be from up there, or it can come from a word, like a word part that you know from somewhere else. Like I might pick the prefix pre. And then we'd have to go back and forth with pre words.
Okay.
Okay, so let me back up a second, Miss Lori.
Sorry.
It's okay. She's so excited. Are you?
I am.
So we have our spinner, and in a moment we're going to be spinning to see where we're going to land for which word part. And for example, I just landed on R-E, and we'll show you up here on ours, R-E, and you'll have to get the push pin down, Miss Lori.
Is that how that works? Oh, we're going to learn that later on.
All right, friends. So then once we have our word part, Miss Lori and I are going to go back and forth. Since I was a spinner, I will go first. And I need to think of a word that starts with R-E. My word is review. And then Miss Lori would have to think of a word as well that starts with R-E, our prefix.
Read.
Ooh. And then we would go back and forth, and whoever is the last person to be able to come up with a word with RE as the prefix is going to win the pom-pom for the round.
Okay, I have a question though. Read doesn't have a prefix.
You're right, but
So
it is
then-
a word part.
So does that count?
I would count it. What do you guys think? Right there, it just says RE and then a dash, and it's at the beginning of the word. And it's not a prefix, but it is a familiar word part.
Okay, I
And it
just
does
want
have
to
a
be
vowel team.
sure that we don't get to the end and you're like, sorry, no pom-pom for you.
That's a good question. Maybe if we were being super strict about the rules and we were playing it another day, but for today, since we're learning, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That makes me feel good.
Okay.
All right, thank
Well,
you.
I think when you're learning to play a game, you have to be generous and flexible. All right. So that was our practice round just to show how it works. We're going to play to, you think 5 pom-poms? Try to win 5? It might be challenging.
Well, we'll see if we can
Okay.
get to 5 because I think we know a lot of words.
Oh, that's true. This could go on a long time. All right,
could
and
go-
we want you to play along at home too. So we want you to think of words for all of the word parts, and we bet you can come up with words that we won't even think of.
I bet you will.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I know you will.
Beautiful.
And I just want to remember that we're staying 6 feet apart and we're keeping our social distance. That's why it may be a little weird the way we're moving around.
It's true.
We're doing a 6-foot dance today.
To be safe, we want everyone to be happy and healthy. All right. So, Miss Lori, please go first. And
Oh,
I put
I
a
get to go
pencil
first.
just for you so that you don't have to
Oh, thank
touch
you.
the pencil that I was using.
All right. Okay, so I'm putting it right in the middle
Okay.
and I'm going to spin. And I got shun.
Whoa.
I am so happy.
I'm a little nervous because you studied so much.
I did. I studied ahead of time. So my first word is going to be nation.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to use invention from last week.
So she used one of our vocab words, which, okay, that was an easy one.
Aha.
Okay, then I'm going to use ambition.
Okay. Revolution.
Ooh, I like that one.
I do too.
I'm going to say relation.
Position.
Now I'm getting low on my shun words because I can't remember. Let's see. Portion. Thank you, audience.
All right. And then the word she actually said was potion.
Oh.
So I'm going to use that.
Well, okay.
Back to you, Miss Lori.
Lotion.
Lotion. Okay. And I think I'm actually out now.
See, we could do rhyming words. That's where I was starting to think because potion and lotion rhyme.
Rhymes can definitely help you. And so friends, when you're playing at home, you can give a 5-second count for the person who's a little stuck. And if they can't come up with a word after 5 slow seconds, then you say, sorry, friend. You didn't get
So
that
did I
time.
get a palm?
You get the palm. And so if you win, I don't usually get my feelings hurt by it. I would just be
Wow.
like, you go, girl.
I'm just a little tiny bit
Well done.
competitive sometimes, not all the time. But today, I think it's from being home so much, I'm feeling very competitive.
Okay,
I don't know
okay.
why. Okay.
I'm happy
Oh,
for you.
I get to
it means a lot.
choose, and I think I'm going to choose this lovely blue.
Okay.
pom-pom. Okay.
So we have our first palm.
All right, your turn.
It's my turn to spin.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to put this pencil down. Let's see. And I'm going to spin. And Miss Lori, I landed on WH.
WH?
WH.
Oh, it looked like TH. Okay. WH. Let's see if we can get it to stay. Okay.
And I got to tell you, this one is the hardest for me. This digraph is challenging. So I'm going to do my very best. So WH, what?
What? I'm going to say whistle.
Whistle. That's a good one. Ooh, whiskers. That was from
Okay.
yesterday.
Which? Like which one?
Good specification.
WHICH, right?
Not a witch
Not
with
not
a
a witch
pointy-
with a big nose and a wart on it.
That makes sense. Whisper. Whisper.
Whisper, okay. Watch. No, see, wrong. See, so you win.
Okay, all right. I thought I had the wrong spelling, but
No.
thank you. I'm excited
Yes.
to win.
For some of us that are a little spelling challenged when we have to do it like without our phone or without spell check.
Right, we could always double check using a device or a dictionary.
dictionary.
If you had
Dictionary.
one at home. Miss Lori, would you like to spin?
I would. Okay.
All right, let's see what she gets.
All right. Okay, come on, CH. I know a lot of CH words. Well,
You can do it.
can I? Okay. CH. Does it have to go around once?
I did not make that rule.
Okay. So, hey, I got CH. Awesome.
CH, okay.
The world of positive thinking.
All right, let's see. Hear what you got.
Okay, church.
Change.
Chain.
Ooh, chip.
Now, how about cinch?
Oh, it's at the end of the word. Lunch. We're both hungry right now.
And then I can just go off that one and say brunch.
I don't know about that one. Okay, all right, we'll allow it. Watch.
Oh, that was the one that I got wrong last time.
It would have been a good one for this time.
I know, dang it. Okay. Did we say chair already?
No.
Chair.
Great. Chin.
Chin. Okay. Chain.
Oh,
Did you say chain?
you said chain.
I said chain.
That
Okay,
was-
so you win.
Okay, so remember, friends, we can't repeat a word, and so that would be a reason.
Another reason to maybe write down what you say.
What a great idea. Keep notes.
I would have taken notes.
That's a good strategy to help win the game. I like that, Miss Lori.
Okay. I don't think we're going to make it to 5, Miss Kathy.
Oh, really? I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
So it's my turn to spin. I'm gonna hope that I get PH. But we'll
Oh, look
see.
at you spin.
Yeah, use the tip of your finger. I guess.
Ah,
It's all
okay.
about
See, I'm learning something.
But it landed right between T-I-O-N and S-H. And Miss Lori, what I say is if it lands directly between two, I say let the spinner choose. That's what I say. But to be fair, I'm going to ask you, what do you think?
Well, I think we've already done T-I-O-N, so let's do something new and
S-H.
different.
Okay,
I think so.
that's a good way to handle it. So two friends, if they have an issue in their game, they can talk about it and say, what seems fair to you?
All right,
right.
do I get to go first?
Oh, the spinner goes first.
Oh.
S-H. Okay. Shampoo.
Oh, love that word.
Thank you.
Love it. Shout.
Shout. Wow. Okay. Shower.
Oh,
was
well,
thinking
that's where
shampoo
you
and
use
shower.
shower. Yes. Shot.
Okay. Ship.
Okay. Shut. Like shut the front door.
I push the door closed. Push.
Push. Ooh, on the end.
I put S-H on the end there.
Okay, I like that. So I can say mush.
Oh, I like that one. Or mash.
Oh, mash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Trash, because I had to take that out today.
Oh, you're such a good friend. Friendship. Ooh. I don't know. I'm going to count it.
I think so.
Okay, it's a new
I
word.
think so.
Even
It's
though
a new
ship
word.
was in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
even though you put
Friendship.
Friendship. Relationship.
Relationship. Look how
We could do a lot of ship words, right?
keep going. Oh, Miss Lori, you might have to give me a 5 count. I'm going to do my best.
I think you can come up with it.
Okay. Shovel.
Shovel.
Yes.
I think I'm kind of at my end. So you get,
Okay. Yes.
so I think we go to 3
Why,
palms.
thank you.
I think even though I was super competitive, I am so happy that Miss Kathy taught me some new words today.
I learned some new words too. I'm really excited about that. But also, we got to have fun.
We did have fun because I think we could keep doing this back and forth all day.
Oh my
We
gosh.
really could.
We could totally play this game over a webcam.
Oh, we could.
Right?
We could. I could just totally Google hang out with you.
I could be cooking dinner and we could just keep going.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, she cooks. Then I'd be sad because I don't cook. So I'd be like, what are you cooking? All right. Are you going to teach our friends how to make this?
Absolutely. So Spin a Sound is a game that we can play at home. We just need a couple of resources to make it. And I'm going to show them next, Miss Lori. But I want to say thank you for being such a great friend
Well,
today.
thank you for inviting me. I had so much fun learning this new game. I can't wait for our next Fun Friday.
Yes, exactly. All right. That's good. Hi, friends. So I loved playing Spin a Sound with Miss Lori. Thank you again, Miss Lori, for making my game a lot more fun. I'm going to show you how you can make this game and how you can make it your own and different and unique using just a couple of household items. So to begin, I'm going to show you the items that I used, and I'll give you some ideas for if you don't have those items at home as well. So I had an extra paper plate that I used to make my spinner. I liked it because it was already round. It's a little bit sturdier than regular paper. so I know that it'll hold up a little bit better to being played with. So if you have a paper plate, this is a great option. You just want to make sure it's not like a waxy or kind of plasticky kind of coating on it, because that'll be really challenging to draw on and write on, versus this one that feels a little bit more like paper. If you don't have a paper plate at home, that's okay. You can use a piece of paper as well. And you could trace a circle. I used, when we did our big game, a rectangular piece of paper. And I found something big that was circular in my home, and I traced it. That is an option for you. Like, I could trace this small bowl to make a circle on a regular piece of paper. So you have two ways to make a circle, or to create a circle in my home to play this game today. Okay, friends. So once you have your place that you're going to make your spinner, either paper plate or on a regular piece of paper, the other special item you're going to need is a paper clip. Now, the paper clip is going to be the critical piece for our arrow spinner. And you can tell there's like this yellow piece of paper that's taped to a paper clip, and we'll go through that. But those are the items that you absolutely need that are kind of special, a paper plate and a paper clip. All right, friends. When I was making mine at home, the big one in particular, I did not have access to a ruler. And so another item, if you have access to a ruler, you'll definitely want, but if you do not have access to a ruler, that's okay. I made mine at home without a ruler. All right, friends, so we have our items ready to go. You will want a pencil or a pen, whatever you have available, and some different colored, either crayons or markers. Both will work really well for this. And I'm going to use a scrap piece of yellow paper to make my arrow itself. So all my materials are laid out, ready to go. I feel very organized. It makes me feel good. And let's begin. So first things first, we need to find the center of this plate. We need to find the middle, because that is going to be where we base the rest of our lines from. And so I always put my dot where I think the middle is. And then I have a friend give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, does that look like the middle to you? Could be better. I'm maybe a little bit more to the right. I'm going to erase and do that again. Oh, I made a big mark that you won't be able to see. Okay. I'm glad I had an extra. Okay. So I have the middle. And friends, this does not have to be perfect in order to work to be a really fun game. Yours doesn't have to be perfect either. Remember that. Okay. So if you were to look at my game, I have 8 different zones, 8 colors that I used, and I'm going to want to cut make a line that cuts this in half, and then in quarters, and then another time in eighths. So to do that with my ruler, I'm first going to line it up as best I can. And this part's tricky because the plate's going to bow up. That's okay. And I'm going to make a line down the middle. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to go over in dark marker so you can really see the details of my work. So I have down the middle now 1 black line. And so my next goal is to use my ruler, draw with a pencil another line that goes across to cut it into quarters. So we have halves, now quarters, and then our last one's going to be, do you guys remember? Eighths. Halves, quarters, and then eighths. So now I have my quarters, and then we're going to do 2 lines that bisect. They're going to go down the middle of the quarter lines so that we have 8 equal parts. And it is helpful to have a permanent marker if you have access to one and you're allowed to use it. Okay, so now I have my 8 equal parts, my eighths, and this is what I'm going to need in order to make my wheel. All right, friends. So once you have it broken up, you can choose any colors that you like. They don't necessarily have to be certain colors. I didn't pick colors because they were special for the sounds. I just picked colors I had access to, and you should do the same. If you use crayons, you do not have to worry about the marker drying. Crayons don't have to dry. They're just ready to go immediately, so that's why I recommend crayons. But if you use markers, be super careful because as you're using them, they are going to need time to dry in order for you not to smudge it, which is I learned the hard way at home. Sometimes when you're inventing a game, you make mistakes, just like everything else in life. That's okay. Don't get mad at yourself. But essentially what you want is to be able to color all of the different wedges because colors make a game more fun. It also helps you remember which color is which sound. So today we played with digraphs and we played with a prefix and a suffix that we had learned previously. But you could play this game with any sound that you want to practice. So if you're having a really tricky time with some of your consonant or vowel sounds, you could also put those in here. Like you could have I, the sound I, and you have to name words that have that sound in it. Or you can make it really hard. And you could put in some really complex suffixes and prefixes that would make it a lot of fun. So once all of your colors are totally filled, you like the way that your wheel looks, that's when you're going to start adding the sounds that you're going to focus on for your spin a sound game. So I'm going to add, we just talked about I, the letter I as a potential sound that you could play this game with. So I'm going to put the letter I. And then over here, I'm going to put a more difficult sound. We were talking about sounds that we could use, or word parts we could use. And I'm going to put pre. So that would mean I have to think of words that start with P-R-E, the prefix and pre. I love saying that, prefix pre. Can you say that 5 times fast? Oh, that's hard. All right, friends. So when your wheel is complete, you are almost ready. The last thing you need to do is to make your arrow. So what you're going to need is scissors. And remember, we always are going to ask for help or permission to use scissors because we want to be safe. We want to be safe at home. And so when I make an arrow, I always sketch it out in pencil first. Arrows can be tricky. It's a triangle with a rectangle on the bottom. So I start off with my triangle. I'll sketch out my triangle shape. And this is going to be the back of it, so I'm not too worried about the lines. And then I'm going to do a rectangle. And for my paper plate, I'm going to make my arrow altogether about 2 inches long. Did I get it? I actually have a ruler so I could check. Yeah. So friends, we are going to cut out our arrow that we're going to use. And when you draw your rectangle, when you're sketching it out, keep in mind that there's going to be a paper clip on the back. And so you kind of want it to be that size. And the paper clips I'm using are larger, but you can use a small itty-bitty paper clip too. That's A-okay. And I'm going to save the rest of the scrap paper for later, for other projects. Or you could recycle it. Okay, so I have my arrow, and my goal is to tape this paper clip so that there's this little part right here, this small part, like the tiniest gap. That's where my pencil is going to go in a moment when we're spinning. So I want to keep that part available and sticking out from my arrow. So I'm going to use a little bit of tape. And tape it around. Okay, so you have your arrow ready to go. This is your spinner. And you may have noticed that Miss Lori and I were using a pencil to keep our spinner in place. So we put the pencil through that little tiny gap we were just talking about, and we're going to flick our arrow around so that it can land on a sound. Mine landed on SH, and we would play the game. The last thing that I just found around my house in order to play this game was pom-poms so that I could have a way to keep score with my friends. You could use absolutely anything. Miss Kay was talking about how she used macaroni. She used beans to play her game. You could use buttons also to keep track of the score. So you have your game built, but you can make this game totally different, put whatever sounds you want in your game to make it unique. You could even do it with numbers if you wanted to make it into a math game. So friends, when you go to play Spin a Sound, I want you to be creative. When you build your game, remember you can make more than one. You can make games that you're going to play for different days of the week. You can make them easy to begin with and then harder for later on. It's totally up to you. What I love is what Miss Lori showed me is that you can go and find words to make yourself better at the game. Maybe I lost today, but next time I'm going to be ready. I'm going to study more words. I'm going to study more words, and I'm going to read books and look for more words so that I can get better at this game. That's the attitude we want to have. Thank you, learners, for joining me today, and I hope you love playing Spin a Sound. Bye, friends.
3, 2.
Hi, welcome back, friends. We're going to finish up our second, third grade session today with a couple of read-alouds. I'm so lucky. I'm Miss Lori, and I'm joined by Miss Kraft here today to read to you. We want to share one last book about inventions with you. And this book is called The Kid Who Invented the Popsicle and Other Extraordinary Stories Behind Everyday Things. It was written by Don L. Wolfson, and Puffin is the publisher. Puffin Books is the publisher of this book. So this is our last nonfiction book that we're going to read and share with you. But the cool thing that I like about this book is it's got a ton of different short stories. And I wanted to show you that sometimes with nonfiction books, you don't have to read them the same way that you would read a fiction book, because a fiction book, you'd want to start at the very beginning and read the story all the way to the end. But in this kind of nonfiction book that has several different short stories in it, you can read a story out of order. You can just look through it, find something that seems interesting to you, and read it. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to show you what it's like to do something called a cold read. And I'm sure many of you have done cold reads at school where your teacher just gives you some kind of text to read and you just have to read it. You've never seen it before. You may not know the words. So if I make a mistake or two, it's because I haven't practiced. All right. So Ms. Kraft, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to go like this. And we are going to learn about, this is so perfect, we're going to learn about rubber gloves. Awesome. Isn't that perfect for this time in our history? Okay, so what they say about rubber gloves. During the 19th century, a surgical nurse, that's a nurse that works with a doctor that is actually operating, at Johns Hopkins Hospital was suffering from rashes on her hands as a result of daily preoperative scrubbings in an antiseptic solution, which is what we should all be doing, right, is washing our hands. Dr. William Halstead, chief of the hospital surgical staff, became aware of the nurse's problem and took it upon himself to find a solution. He made plaster casts of her hands, then took the casts to a manufacturer, that's somebody that makes things, of rubber products and had thin gloves molded from them. The gloves not only solved the immediate problem, they also fostered a romance between the two, which led to marriage. In time, Dr. Halstead tried the gloves himself, found they were well suited for surgery, and ordered a pair of his own, more sterile than even the best scrubbed hands. Rubber gloves were quickly adopted by surgeons everywhere. And now they are adopted by most people everywhere trying not to get the coronavirus. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Kraft so she can share with you too.
So I'm also going to share a story with you from the same book, and you can see that this is one of those books that you don't have to read all the way through, like Miss Lori said. I've already marked some pages that I wanted to share. The first one that I'd like to share is one very similar to what Miss Lori just read. It's about Kleenex. The first use of what we know today as Kleenex was as an air filter in GI's gas masks during World War I. That'd be a soldier, right? After the war, the company making the substance had a huge surplus in its warehouse. Needing a market for this surplus, company executives came up with a product they called Celluwipes, which they had advertised and sold as sanitary cold cream remover. The name Celluwipes was soon changed to what we know today as Kleenex. Women liked the product. Many wrote letters to the company praising the product. So that's how we get our Kleenex of today. So some really cool facts in here. And we're so happy that you were able to share these last 2 weeks with us when we talked about inventions and the really cool things that make our life easier. Thank you for joining us today for At Home with APS.
See you next week.